Within just the first 11 minutes of the first episode, we are greeted to a peculiar motif of Sarazanmai, Shirokodama extraction. In this process, the Kappa extracts a Shirokodama from another individual, this being a mythological organ in the shape of a ball that contains the person's soul. In Japanese folklore, Kappa usually pull pranks but could often lure humans to the shore and steal their Shirokodama in order to gain strength. In Sarazanmai, however, the Shirokodama is described as housing a person's desires. The fusion is simple, as it is stating that it is our desires that constitute the self, and that to let one's self be known to others is not so simple a task, particularly in our materialistically driven society. When the extraction is performed, their clothes are immediately stripped, but the simple exposure of the body is not enough. It is rather the secret contained inside that is to be put on display. Hence why the Shirokodama is an organ that must be taken out of the body for this purpose. Sara from the title Sarazanmai is translated to dish or plate. It is also the name of the idol Sara, and in English corresponds to her common phrase and dish missions. In regards to the Kappa, it denotes the dishes that lay on top of the Kappa's heads, containing the life energy of the Kappa in the form of a liquid, usually water. If a Kappa is on land and loses this liquid, it also loses its power, which may lead to its death. Zanmai is simply indulgence. To put the two together, it is an indulgence in life as signified in the life force contained within the plates of the Kappa. For desires are passions of life that ought not to be contained and repressed. These desires are externalized in our connections with other people. The Kappa Kingdom and the Outer Empire represent two contrasting notions to the question of desires. The others are portrayed as notably bureaucratic, mechanized, and corporate, as the name Kappazon would imply. Others in Japanese folklore have quite a negative reputation. Portrayed similar to the Kitsune, they have a penchant for shapeshifting into humans, or even possessing them. And in doing so, they drain the person until their soul is extracted, quite similar to the Kappa with the Shirokodama. In Ainu myth, they are known for being those responsible for the imperfections of humanity due to their forgetfulness in the process of mankind's creation. Kappa, on the other hand, are a popular figure representative of the folklore of Japan and are capable of benevolence. The location of Sarazanmai also displays this contrast, positioned in Asakusa and Ueno, regions that blend the old and spiritual with the modern and cosmopolitan. Even in the anime, this can be seen with temples next to business buildings and the like. Also by these places is the topical mascot, the Kappa, seen in the Kappa-dera temple right within the Kappabashi Dori, kitchen town of course, a relation to plates and most pertinently material objects. The replacement of organic connections or the forging of these connections between material vectors such as the internet and pertinently phone messaging is of significance to the theme of the anime and our lives. For example, in the first 2 episodes, Kazuki provides a connection between his little brother and a favorite idol of his, Sara, by literally playing the part of Sara without him knowing. Sara, being an idol, only has artificial simulated relationships with her fans, making it transient and limited. Just as a physical object can be broken or lost so easily, it is a connection formed by the desires of the person as they assign importance to it. Yet, at the same time, it is not purely inauthentic. Just as Kazuki's intervention is not either, as it shows genuine care for his brother even if not placed forthrightly. The others, however, see these desires and the machinations in which they spring up as something to be repentant of, as something to be inherently questioned. The main questions become desires or love. The fantasies of caught criminals are to them nothing more than disgusting delusions to be purged. An analogy struck in a gaze upon this show and its material, it reminded me of the book Glass Bees by Ernst Junger, a sort of sci-fi book in which an unemployed war veteran visits the residence of a wealthy business magistrate styled like Walt Disney for a job interview. While in the garden of his house waiting for him, he notices his latest invention, robotic bees, and a correlated beehive, next to a real beehive and its inhabitants placed for comparative study. In observing the two himself, he knows that titular glass bees are infinitely more effective at producing honey, and they also lack a hierarchy of the authentic bee colony. Instead, all of them are the same robotic brand and make. They are a bureaucratic empire of bees more sterile than even the natural bee drones, even lacking the trademark buzzing. In the process of their extraction of honey, they kill off the flower, destroying their previous mutualistic relationship of before. The veteran also recalls a memory in which he and his fellow soldiers were once attacked by a swarm of bees as they later counted the amount of stings each man had, with some being covered all over to others not being at all harmed. The glass bees, however, are programmed directly to avoid running into any human and lack any potential hostility, even when harmed. The comparison is clear, for the authors themselves represent that technological modernity that seeks to choke out authentic connections for supposed greater social profit and kill off the desires of humans until they are zombies. The Kappa have a generosity and transparency in regards to their human counterparts, instead constituting a relationship that cannot be fully actualized through production means and transaction. To form genuine connections can often be difficult, leading to pain like a swarm of bees. But at the same time, this affliction is a reminder of the actual, a necessary sacrifice. The alternative convenient option may absolve this pain, but in return brings a false bond, or it may distract from the reality of this connection. I want to connect, but I also want to lie. I want to connect, but I can't. I want to connect, so I'm not giving up. In the end, it is the inner desires for connections that make up oneself that must be exposed truthfully in order to form integral relationships, and the wisdom to know when they must be concluded.